Even with the proliferation of satellite internet and advanced cellular networks, amateur radio remains incredibly relevant in disaster preparedness and response today. In fact, its role has evolved from merely relaying voice messages to providing robust off-grid digital backbones when primary infrastructure fails. When the power grid drops and cell towers lose their backup batteries, the amateur radio community steps in. However, the nature of emergency communications has shifted significantly from the traditional voice-only traffic nets of the past. Today's emergency responders require exact data, not just voice descriptions. Ham radio has adapted to meet this need. WinLink and email over RF. This is arguably the most critical emergency communication tool today. Using HF bands like 80 meter and 40 meter for regional NVIS propagation, operators can transmit standard incident command system forms, spreadsheets, and emails to gateways located thousands of miles outside the disaster zone, bridging the gap to the intact internet. Mesh networks. Using repurposed commercial microwave gear, operators deploy amateur radio emergency data network to create high-speed off-grid local intranets. This allows emergency operations centers and shelters to share voice over IP, live video, and file servers locally when commercial internet is served. Digital modes for weak signals. Protocols like JS8 call, VARA-HF, and PSK31 allow for error-free data transmission even with low power output or extremely poor band conditions, providing a reliable link when voice communications would be buried in static. Why it survives when commercial systems fail. Architecture. Commercial networks relies on vulnerable tower switches which are centralized. Amateur radio is decentralized, completely peer-to-peer. Power needs. Commercial networks requires grid power or massive generators. Amateur radio easily runs on 12-volt lithium iron phosphate batteries or solar. Bandwidth. Prone to complete congestion during a crisis in case of commercial networks. Amateur radio, it is dedicated federally protected emergency frequencies. Integration with professional agencies. The days of hams simply showing up uninvited to disaster zones are largely over. Modern emergency communication is highly structured and professionalized. Even in our region, during the Wayanad landslide disaster, VU2 Oscar Juliet and colleagues were called by the district administration to provide emergency services in the disaster area because cell coverage was lost in the landslide. The Amateur Radio Emergency Service and Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Service act as formalized volunteer corps. They hold official memorandums of understanding with Federal Emergency Management Agency, the Red Cross, and local state emergency management offices. Many hospitals now integrate amateur radio directly into their contingency plans, such as the Broadband Medical Emergency Radio System. Operators are credentialed to support medical facilities when internal telecom systems fail, ensuring patient transfer requests and resource allocation continue seamlessly. This description applies mostly to the United States of America. Let us hope that similar systems will catch up soon in our region as well. We are expecting a lot of advanced technical deliberations in Hamfest India 2026 being organized at NITK Surathkal. This is just a curtain raiser to create awareness in local amateur radio community.